Recording now. Hello, YouTube. Hello, hello.
Hello. Okay, so today we're going to be installing VS Code / Git CLI, and if you stayed a little bit later last week, you may have already installed VS Code with Kento, but nonetheless, we will go over it for those who didn't stay late. Then we'll also go over we'll go over repositories and Git commands, and then we'll do a live demo. Okay, so installing on Windows. Okay, so I'm on a Mac, so I guess I can't really show you, but I can. But the website is the same. If you go to this website, all you need to do is download the Windows version, and I'll send the link in chat as well. But VS Code is essentially just a file editor. It allows you to it'll allow us to edit our code. So and it also has so yeah, we're just going to be using VS Code to edit our code, and you can also use it for Git, but we'll show you Git CLI, which is much more general. Okay, and then as for downloading the Git CLI, I believe for Windows, you just go to this link and you'd install it using the executable, which should just be, it should open your command prompt. So this would be for Windows, and I linked that in chat as well. And so it may take a little while for you to download those, but we'll just move on. In the meantime, you guys can run the download in the background. And then for Mac, it's very similar for Mac and Linux. This is the download link for Linux, or you can, for VS Code, you can really just go to the same link for downloading regardless of which platform you're on. You can download here for Linux. For most of you, you'll be using the .deb file if you're using Ubuntu, but I assume if you know what.
We're assuming if you're using Linux that you're capable enough to go to Google and look it up yourself. So cheers.
And then there's Mac here, which is that. And then for Mac, I guess one easy way to install Git is to first install Homebrew. Homebrew is essentially just a package manager. I will link this in chat as well.
Some people might be confused about how to install Homebrew, so you might want to walk them through that in the terminal or something.
All you really do is you copy this link, then you open terminal, and or it's not a link, you copy that command and you run the command. You may have to type in your password. Then it'll download. For if you already have Homebrew, it'll just update Homebrew. I'm just gonna cancel my download. Oh, perfect. I already have Homebrew, so I'll cancel the download. But after you download Homebrew, you can just run this command to install Git. Just type in brew install Git. And again, if you have Git already, it'll just update your Git. May take a few seconds, but yeah, so I already have Git and it's up to date, so it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, this might take a while, and also I think quite a few people might have like trouble doing it because it's a little bit confusing sometimes. So if you have any questions, just let us know in the chat and we can help you right away. So yeah. Again, what you have to do is download VS Code and also download Git. And on Mac, it's a little bit more complicated, but on Windows, you just install with the link.
So it looks like Ronak is actually saying that for Mac, you don't really need Brew to install Git. If you type Git in terminal, it'll install it.
Oh, really? Dang,
But yeah,
that's interesting. I didn't know that.
so I guess you can,
Okay. Looks like we're good for this one, right?
yeah. Okay, and then going over sort of just the big picture of, going over the big picture of GitHub and repositories. So essentially, a repository is just the contents of your folder, and it acts contents of your project, and it acts a lot like a folder what you might have on your laptop. So what this means is you can add virtually any you can add virtually any file to your GitHub repository. It works just like a folder. So you know, the only difference is that there are some setup files in the folder which you'd have to install, but we'll show you how to set up a folder as a Git repository in the preceding slides. Some other additional features are that with GitHub, you can do code sharing, which you can essentially share your code with anyone across the whole world. And this allows you to work with teammates, and all your teammates will have the most updated code. So you can end up with a unified version of your code at the end of the project. And then another great feature is issues, where people can launch issues and they can essentially report bugs or request features or even ask questions about your repository. And there's also branches, which allows you to essentially branch off and make changes to your code and later on merge it into a master version. So you can have like two separate versions of your code. And I'm going to show this video, which it kind of explains this and how or why GitHub is useful, or just Git in general. So I'm going to play this video. Let me know if you can hear the audio. Oh, no audio. Okay.
Here, I can do it if you. That's easier.
Sure.
I'm not a co-host anymore because PC crashed, so that was fun. But
All right, doing that now. Bing, bing,
all
boom.
right, thank you.
Saying, there you are. Okay, make co-host, bing, bing, boom. Yep, there you are.
Yay! Okay. Share parsec. Okay. It was here, right? Do I have to present it to like get the video on? No, that's pretty dumb.
Okay, what is
Can you hear it?
GitHub? Well, GitHub is a platform that helps people solve problems by building software together.
Okay.
So, how does it work? This is Sam. Sam works on tractors all day, but not in the way you might be thinking. She builds the software that helps make tractors more efficient. And she does this on GitHub with the help of her team, VJ, Melinda, and Mike. Now, even though they all work on the same project, Sam and her team don't all work in the same part of the world. This is Eddie. Eddie also works on tractors all day, except he actually works on the tractors all day. And this is the Harvester L700. It's the latest flagship in the company's fleet of tractors. It's full of sensors and processors that produce a ton of diagnostic data. Eddie has a great idea for how farmers might share their data and improve their harvests. So Eddie opens an issue on GitHub. Issues are discussion threads where people can report bugs, request features, or even just ask questions. Sam is the first one on her team to see Eddie's issue, and she thinks that VJ would be the best person to start the job. And here's where we get into the nuts and bolts. Eddie isn't the only person using the Harvester L700. All over the world, other tractors are collecting moisture data, and they need to keep running smoothly even while VJ is working on the new features. He needs a dedicated place to experiment, so none of his changes end up on the farm before they're ready. So he creates a branch of the code, an alternate timeline where he can safely make changes to the software. Now he's ready to start writing the new features. GitHub tracks VJ's changes and saves snapshots of his progress. When he's ready to collaborate on the changes with his team, he opens a pull request on GitHub. Pull requests let you show others the changes you're proposing so they can review and discuss them. This means VJ's teammates can help with roadblocks and even make improvements. On GitHub, everyone has a copy of the project. So if Melinda has an idea for something that will help make VJ's work even better, she can add it to the branch herself. GitHub keeps a record of everyone's contributions and feedback in the pull request, alongside relevant messages from the team's other systems. Once the team has signed off on the changes, VJ can incorporate the new code into the project. The new feature will be available to everyone as soon as he merges it in. Now farmers everywhere can all benefit from Eddie's great idea. But this is really only the beginning of the story. Because GitHub is the largest community of developers in the world, with millions of people sharing their projects, Eddie's idea could end up helping people in unimaginable ways. What kinds of problems are you trying to solve? Whether you're an engineer, a code enthusiast, or even a farmer trying to harvest grain, software touches every corner of our lives. GitHub is where people build that software. It's how they build software, together.
Hey, so I got a question about how you open terminal. So I can do Windows, but could Keshav walk through that on Mac again?
Yeah.
I think, like it's low FPS, so you might have to do it like slowly.
Yeah. Well, I can just like kind of tell you, it's just an application. So you can use Spotlight Search by clicking Command and space, and then you can search for terminal. And it should be on any computer that is a Mac.
On Windows, it's like almost as simple. Let me share my screen. I'm gonna override yours for a bit. Screen, bam. Oh, we get some other stuff. Anyways, so say you want to open terminal, right? You just press start and then start typing command prompt. And there it is. And you can just click it to open it. But yeah, I don't think you would need command prompt for installing Git. You just click the download.
All right. So now we're just going over Git commands.
Yeah, so starting out with commits. So a Git commit is essentially, it's like taking a snapshot of your repository at a specific time. And what you should do is you should be making Git commits very often. And over the time, if you make a lot of commits, this will show the history of your project, because you'll have essentially like snapshots of your project at every few steps. And one thing you should know is that commits are local, so they store the snapshot of your project, but you're going to want to push those commits and all the metadata that goes along with it. So that's what the git push command does, and we'll show you how to do that on your through command line in our demo at the end. Yeah, and what Ronak points out is also true. Making commits frequently allows you to get long streaks on GitHub. That's just like getting hacker points. Okay, and then there's also git fetch and pull. So they are very similar, but there are some key differences. Fetch and pull, they're both used to download new data from a repository. So fetch essentially downloads the data. However, it doesn't integrate this with your files. So this is completely harmless because it's just downloading data. And because it doesn't integrate these changes into your working files, git fetch will never manipulate or destroy or screw up anything that you're working on. So really you can fetch as frequently as you can. You can fetch, run git fetch. And pull, git pull not only downloads the data, but it also integrates it into your current working files. So this can lead to merge conflicts. For example, if you change the same line as somebody else who has already pushed their changes to the repository, that could cause a merge conflict. But yeah, Ronak says merge conflicts can be resolved by saying git push -f, which just -f just like forces it. Yeah, but you wouldn't. I think it's better if you'd want to like manually do the. You'd actually want to manually check your merge conflicts because they can cause problems with your code if you don't manually check them, but they're pretty easy to check. Yeah, and then there's also git revert. It's exactly what you might think. It reverts a specific commit, but git revert only reverts one commit. So if you want to go back 5 commits, you'd have to run git revert on a list of commits.
Okay, so git branch, you kind of saw that in the video. It basically just creates a copy of the codes for like an isolated copy, so you can edit that version and push your commits to it and change and add the changes without affecting the main branch. Also, you might have heard on the news that GitHub is changing master to primary. That's true, but like you notice when you're installing the Git software for Windows, it will ask you if you want to change it, if you want to change the naming conventions to a new one. That's up to you. Just know it's there. Know sometimes master will be named primary. Forgot to mention earlier. And yeah, git branch makes a new isolated version of the master branch. Merge, basically, this is where we combine the isolated branch to the main branch, so we can actually like see the new changes for most people. And sometimes there will be like merge errors, and that's unfortunate. So check out. So there's this idea of where the head is like where your what version of the repo you're doing. So for instance, if we were to use git checkout, rad feature, which is the branch name, it's a wonderful branch name, then the head will be moved to the you'll be seeing what the branch feature the rad feature branch, and then you can basically move to different versions of the repository. Okay, so now we're just going to show you how to show this things in action. So I'm just going to make a repository. It's going to be called webdev test, and I'll make it public. Create it. And since we said that we were going to how to make a file like repository from a file. So we're just gonna do that real quick. I'm gonna do make live, let's call this web dev test. And I'll just go inside of it real quick.
I think we might be going a little bit too fast, but
Okay, so basically I'm making a file, but here I'll write it here so it's a bit more friendly. So I'm just gonna call this project file. And inside,
yeah, basically just make a folder for the
Dash.
project you want to edit in.
Yeah.
And then,
and we'll just make a file here. I'll call it here. I'll just use this thing. Call it index.html because we're web dev. And then I am going to, also, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that earlier. For file manager, Windows doesn't allow you to change, file extensions normally. So you have to press this view button on the top right here. And then you check file name extensions right here. All right, so we're just gonna add the file. We're gonna add some changes, or yeah. So we're just gonna put hello world, hello world. And save it, and then go to the our terminal right here. It is pointing to project file. We're going to add. We're going to stage this change. So staging changes. It's just basically saying, hey, which files do I want to change? Okay, and yeah. Oh, sorry. We need to get in it. Okay, this is initializing the repository. It's basically saying, hey, I want to use this folder to act as a repository. So we're just gonna do that real quick, and it makes it a .git file. Don't like, you don't need to worry about the .git file. It's actually supposed to be hidden, because it has a period at the front. You shouldn't really worry about it. And now we're gonna add the index.html, and then we have staged that file. So now we're gonna do a commit. We're going to use the parameter -n to say I want to have a commit message, and then this is just going to be called initial commit. Okay, now we need to add a remote. A remote is basically just a place where you're going to upload it. We're going to use GitHub as a place to do it because first of all, it's free, and second of all, it's free, and it's wonderful. So GitHub provides you like a little guide of how to do it. So what we're going to do is git remote add origin this web this HTTPS URL, and yeah, and then we're just going to add that, and we're going to push. So then we need to tell like, hey, I want to push specifically to the remote origin and to the master branch. I spelled origin wrong. Yeah, that's not the only thing I did. Upstream. Put upstream instead of upstream. Cool. I misspelled origin. Spelling things is not necessarily a great trait. Misspelling things is not a very great trait. Okay, so now we pushed it and it should show up, and it showed up. Nice.
By the way, you only have to do that the first time,
Yes.
like remote or stuff.
if you couldn't keep up, don't worry. I'm gonna do like a slower, more mouse and clicky demo. So if you want to stay a little bit after the meeting is over, yeah, I can do that. I think it's like, what is it? What's after the meeting? It's like talk to teachers to get help time, right? Office hours, yeah, whatever
Office
it's called.
hours, yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to stay during office hours, we can. I can share that.
Okay then. Okay, and now it's here, and I'm gonna add some more changes. We're gonna add a bold. So we're gonna surround it with a bold tag real quick, and then save that. And now we want to stage those, like before we're gonna stage those changes again. We use the git status command just to show like, hey, what have I modified? What have I changed? What do I need to stage? And we're just gonna do that real quick. Add index.html. Commit-m, another name. And you should generally have the messages reflect the changes that you made. So bold words. Push. Okay, so what if I just made a mistake? Terrible mistake. I just bolded something. Wow, that's terrible. Why should I have done that? So I can use git log to tell me like, hey, what are the what did I not push it? Sorry, I did not use to commit right. You're supposed to use dash as to show what parameters you want to use. Okay, so now we're gonna push it, and all right, let's say I just made a mistake. Did not want to do that. I want to revert back to that original ownership commit. So we're just gonna go to git log. It's gonna tell us all of the it's gonna tell us the ID, basically ID for every single commit. So we're just gonna copy. You don't need to have the full ID. You can just like copy whatever amount you think it's unique to it. Since there's only like a little, I'm just gonna copy like half of it. I'm gonna revert using. We're just gonna use the git revert and the commit ID. Okay. So here is a merge conflict because I already, sorry.
Just a heads up saying that watch time.
How much time we have?
5 minutes, but we want to end a little bit early. So yeah,
Oh,
just
okay.
wrap it up
You know what?
soon.
Here we can, yeah, we can finish up here. Okay. Why is this not working? So there is a thing. So I'm just going to do it here. Continue. Okay, I'm not entirely sure what this is, and we're almost out of time, so I'm gonna come back to this later. And yeah.
Right. Cool. I'm just gonna put the sign-in link, and the code is git.
Yeah.
Today. Code is git. Code is git. Bing bing boom. Ba bam ba bam. Yeah. Help. Yeah. I got you. Let me open up a new VS Code window so I can demo it to all of you. Okay. So yeah, you're free to leave, like if you want to leave, but if Singman's tutorial is a little bit too advanced for you, then you should stay behind, and I'll walk you through like the easy way, or the
VS Code
clicky
way,
mouse way.
the
Yeah, the
GUI
VS
way.
Code way. Yeah. Gonna go through the recording later. Okay, that works too. Cool. All right, so
You guys done for the day? Or do you need me to stick around?
No, we're good.
No? All right. Take it easy, guys. Thanks for the
thank
the
you.
reminder.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming every week. All right, so to the people who are left, there's still a few people left, so I'm gonna walk you through that. I guess a few people are gonna view the recording as well, so hi YouTube. Let's keep recording. Okay, let me share my screen. Screen. Okay. So in theory, you should have VS Code installed now. So if you search up Visual Studio Code in your computer, you should have it somewhere in your computer, right? You just click it and click, bam. And then you should have a window like this pop up. I think everyone's there. Right, and then basically VS Code is like the superior editor. Don't let anyone else tell you anything different, it is the best editor. Okay, no other opinions. So let's say we want to make a repo like Singman did, right? So you click this. Oh, let me check the chat. Someone's probably angry. Notepad plus. Okay, fine. So click this file icon on the top left, right? And then there should be stuff over here that's like open folder. And then if you're advanced like me, there should be another button, but it should just say open folder. So this is where all your files are going to show up. And say we want to make a repo, then you click this this source control button. It's like it looks like a weird, I don't know what to call it. It's like a scuffed fork. So yeah, it says Git was not detected because I don't have Git installed on Windows. So if you have this error, then that means you haven't properly installed Git. But if you do have Git installed, then you should have let me switch to my proper environment. If you do have Git installed, you should have something that looks like this. So it says, in order to use Git features, you can open a folder containing Git repository or clone from a URL. Okay, so let's go over to github.com and we'll make a new repository for ourselves here. New repository. Bam. Right, and let's call it web dev test as well. Web dev test. Right, and I'm going to make it private, and then create. So that's simple enough. And then there's a bunch of stuff on this page, right? And like, you don't need to care about any of it. All you got to do is copy this thing right here with the copy button. Bam. Copy this thing, this URL right here. And then click clone repository in VS Code, clone from GitHub, and then paste the link, press enter. Oh, whoops, I did something wrong. Clone from GitHub. Oh, okay. So in VS Code, you can actually sign into GitHub over here. So there's like a user icon on the bottom left. Click that, and then you can sign in to your GitHub account. And you should do that. Once you do that, you can really easily clone anything from GitHub. So let's say clone repository, clone from GitHub, and then I can search up, what do I call this? Web dev test. And bam, I can see Sangman's version of web dev test as well. But I'm going to do Kento Nishi / web dev test because that's my / web dev test. And there it is. So I just click it. And then I choose a folder where I want to save the files. So I have all my code in this GitHub folder. So GitHub / I'm going to put it in this GitHub folder over here. Okay. It cloned. And it says, would you like to open the cloned repository? Well, yeah. So let's just open it. And let it load. And boom, you're ready to go. Basically, you have an empty repository set up now. And say we want to add like an index.html file, right? You just click this new file button up here, or you can right click in here and then click new file. And then type index.html. I'm going to make the text bigger so you guys can all see. Index.html, press enter, and bam, you have your first HTML file in VS Code. And so in here, you can type stuff like div p world, right? And now we have your basic HTML file. And if you reload on GitHub, you won't see the index.html file. And you might wonder, why is that, right? That's basically because you haven't committed and pushed your code to GitHub. So GitHub doesn't know that this new file is in your code. So what do we have to do? You see this one icon right next to the Git icon right here, or source control icon right here? That means there's one file that hasn't been committed. So you can just click that. And then it says, oh, there's a change that you have not committed. Right? And this plus icon will say, stage the change. So staging is basically like recognize that the change happened. In Git, there's like a way to not recognize that a change happened, so you don't update GitHub. So the code is different on your computer, but nobody else knows, basically. But we do want GitHub to know that our code was updated, so we press this plus icon. And if you did that by mistake, you can just press this minus icon to bring it back. But we do want the change, so let's press plus. Right. Now, if you click index.html in this source control panel right here, you can see what exactly was changed, right? So here there was nothing originally. Now we have 5 extra lines. Okay, so we want to commit this, but how do we do that? Basically, we have to attach like a short message. So let's say my first commit here, right? And then once you have a good message, you just click check, and then you're committed. Now, if you reload on GitHub, you still won't see anything. And that's because you haven't pushed your changes. So what that means is the thing you just saved or committed is on your computer, but GitHub doesn't know that yet. So the thing you have to do is you have to go here, this ... button, and then pull comma push, and then push. Or you can press this tiny icon on the bottom, but that might be a little confusing. So for beginners, I would say just go to this ... pull push, push. And then now if you reload your repository, you should see the updated code. There it is, index.html. And there's like a history button over here. You can see that. If you click that, you can see the timeline of all your commits. So let's add something else. Let's say we want to have a title for the page, or like a header, I guess. So h1, my page, like that, right? Then we would commit that over here, added header. Make sure you have like appropriate commit names. Click commit, pull push, push. And then once that's done, let's wait for it to finish. Yep. If you reload the page, bam, there it is. So now if you look at the code, it'll be exactly what you wrote. Yeah, that's pretty much it for like a simple Git tutorial. And here it makes all the commands really easy. So if you want to pull changes, you can just click pull. If you want to fetch, like Keshav introduced, you can fetch, bam. Yeah, so VS Code pretty much makes everything involving like Git and source control easy. So I do recommend that you use it. And we'll start using it next week officially. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Cool. If there's nothing else, I think I'm going to end it here. Where do you commit the file? Basically, could you share your screen or something? I can help you out directly. Is screen sharing allowed? Let me see. No, it is not. Bam, there it is. Okay, screen share is allowed now. You can do your thing. Okay, yeah. So you see that on the left side, there's like a 1 icon right below the source control icon, or on the left, top left, or not top, but like a little bit above. Yeah, right there, right there. And then right there, yeah. So you have to enter a message first. You have to enter a message first, yeah. So first stage your change. So press the plus icon next to index.html. Yeah. Or did you click it? I don't know what happened. Stage.
He clicked it. He clicked it.
Okay, I don't know what's happening. Why is it so slow?
Just loading.
Staging and change should be instant. That's very awkward. You know what? Just enter the message and then click the checkbox. It should do it automatically. It's like initial or index.html, whatever. Doesn't matter. Next thing. Yes. And then would you like to stage all your changes and commit them directly? Yes. Oh, it's staged now. Yeah. So it's committing. I don't know why it's being so slow, but probably something else is running in the background. But if you wait a bit, you should see that the file is committed. And then, like I said, you can just do the ... pull, push, and then push. And you should see it updated on your GitHub page. right, I think that's pretty much it for today. I'm gonna pause the recording here, and yeah, hope to see you next week. Bye.